Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's JamBox. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And with that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsor.
Breakfast Buzz, a bright and full-bodied breakfast tea. An assertive blend of black tea originating in Assam, Ceylon, and Kenya. Breakfast Buzz is bold with a malted, smoky taste, and just a touch of peat is guaranteed to get your day started right. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies.
All right, thank you all so much for watching. Again, shout out The Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. I guarantee you're going to like it. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
What's good, everybody? I go by Two Slicc.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, where you're from, what you do, give us that Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
Yeah, so I was born in California.
Oh, hell yeah.
Pretty much raised over here in PNW.
Okay, where at in California?
I'm from Indio, Palm Springs.
Oh, cool. I'm from the Bay Area myself, so we're kind of neighbors.
Hey, shout out to the Bay.
Oh yeah. When did you move up here initially?
Pretty much once my parents separated. That was when I was 5.
Oh, okay.
And then, kind of came down here.
Okay, so you've been here pretty much your whole life.
Pretty much raised right here. My dad left my mom with 7 kids, and then we came down here. And,
okay, you got a little squad with you.
Yeah, definitely.
And what got you into music initially?
I grew up all around it. My dad had a 64 in the 80s.
Okay.
So, anything from Zapp and Rogers to
oh hell yeah
to oldies,
yep.
Oldies but the goodies. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I'm gonna be honest. Zapp and Rogers is probably one of my most influential groups. So I appreciate you bringing them up. That's a sound that just lives rent free in my brain full time.
Yeah. No, they're definitely definitely funky.
Hell yeah.
Jiggy with it.
Yeah. And did any of your siblings do any music as well, or are you the first one in your household to make music?
I'm honestly one of the first. Like I said, Pops was always bumping, same with my mom's. But yeah, music has always been around.
Hell yeah.
Heavy influenced for sure.
Hell yeah. And what were some of your earliest influences?
I would say definitely Nipsey Hussle being one of them. I went through, when I was in high school, a freshman, I remember listening to Bullets Ain't Got No Names, which is one of his older albums. That really hit. And then another one too would be Brother Lynch.
Oh, hell yeah.
Middle school years.
That's a name I haven't heard in a minute.
Yeah, it's an old school one. But Sacramento, he's from Sacramento. And I remember, going through middle school, hearing a lot of, some of his stuff and the 24 Deep and all of that. I remember hearing it. I was like, damn.
Yeah, no, I feel that for sure. And then for this next question, we have a couple foundation questions we check in with everybody on the lock format. And this first one, it's one we ask early, it's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
The first album I ever bought with my own money? It'd be, I believe it's, Chicken and Beer by Ludacris?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Man, that was one I wish I heard more often.
Throwback.
Yeah, oh. So good.
Shout out Luda.
He was doing it was funny because on the outside he seemed so goofy, but on the inside he was so connected to his craft.
Oh yeah. He's definitely he's very unique. His bars are crazy.
And I felt like he never focused so hard on technique that he couldn't let the track be fun. You know what I mean? No,
that's facts.
He knew what he was doing, but he also knew what he wanted to be doing.
Oh yeah, he knew what he wanted as far as the outcome.
What was I can't believe. Was it Stand Up? Was it the one where everything was big?
Yeah.
Or was that Get Back?
No, Stand Up was definitely one of them. I mean, even the Get Back, both of them. Solid.
Okay, he just kind of had a thing.
Yeah,
man, shout out Ludacris. If you ever want to be on the show, You're welcome on here anytime.
Shout out Luda.
Oh, yeah. But getting back to it, what was the first live show you ever went to? That was like one you wanted to go to. So you like saw that the show was happening, you got tickets, you went to it.
Wow, this is definitely a throwback. But Tyga, Tyga, back in all the mixtape era, when he was doing like the Well Done, and the Well Done 2, and that was the first show that I actually bought tickets to. I went solo. I ended up being right next to him, and I mean, he's pretty much like he's not very tall, so he had to be on one of his security's backs, pretty much was on their back and moving through the crowd, and that was one of my first I remember that whole mixtape that he did too was going crazy that summer. Yeah, it was definitely a crazy show. It was definitely unique to be able to be next to him at that time too. So yeah, that was like one of my first shows.
Man, that's a solid first show. You definitely have like a cool like growing up experience with the sounds. Sure.
Definitely.
For sure. I guess there was really no way you couldn't get into it at that point. But I guess I would love to know then, what was the defining moment where you decided you wanted to take music more seriously?
2022, I really just started pushing my music a lot harder. Making things a lot more serious. It all kind of actually started with my lady had booked me a session, and as a gift on Valentine's.
What?
Yeah,
best Valentine's Day gift.
Oh ever. Yeah, shout out to my lady.
Keep her for sure.
It really made me start. After that session, I ended up taking it a lot more serious and pushed out. Ended up having an idea for my first project, and then had a date, and I followed all the way through with it.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. That might be the coolest thing I've ever heard in a minute. Like that's such a fun way of doing it. So yeah, thank you.
A lady like that. Right. Shout out to my lady.
Damn, that's fellas. That's goals right there. That's goals right there. Everybody should be looking for that from now on. Hell yeah. But let's go ahead. Let's dive on into you in the current day.
Yeah.
We're going to get a super easy one out of the way. How'd you pick the name?
So, a lot of my homies back in the day, middle school, going into high school, a lot of my homies called me Slick.
Okay.
So pretty much it was like Slick, and my original name, my real name is Ivan. So they would say like Sliven, Slick and Sliven, Pretty much it turned into, I ended up putting a 2 at the in the beginning of it, because one of my biggest inspirations as well is Tupac.
Okay.
So
I was gonna say either that or Too Short. So
right.
We were going one way or the other.
There, So that's kind of how I incorporated 2 and then Slick. Okay. I ended up throwing both of them together, and it's the way the whole idea behind it is kind of like, it's too slick out here. You know what I'm saying? Watch your step.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
I dig that for sure. And then let's talk about your writing process.
Yeah.
And we're going to break it up into chunks, but we're going to start right at the beginning. So when you get inspired, you're ready to make some music. What are some of the things you do to get a track started?
So I definitely got to get a, first of all, vibe check. You know what I mean? Definitely get a good vibe, definitely break down some broccoli, you know what I'm saying? Smoke a little something, get my mind right. And then, I just kind of, it's all about how I feel, like in that point in time, I'll kind of go off of what I feel, kind of get an idea behind it, depending on what I'm trying to talk about. And then I kind of go from there,
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And then when you get a track finished, so it doesn't have to be like released per se, but once it's done being written, how long does it usually take you to get comfortable performing it?
I would definitely, a lot of practice, that's for sure. I'm not one to as soon as I'm done recording something, I definitely don't perform it right away. I definitely get, practice is key, So I definitely have to hear it a certain amount of times before I start to get more comfortable with it. But once I do, it becomes natural.
Oh yeah,
at that point.
And I guess I should ask this more in the first part of the question. But do you freestyle? Do you write your bars down? How do you go about getting it put together?
Honestly, I am definitely someone who writes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I used to do the paper. Now, everybody got iPhones.
Yeah,
nowadays.
you can just.
So I'm all on my phone now. But that's definitely, I'm definitely a writer, just because, first of all, even when it comes to freestyles, shout out to anybody that can freestyle. I definitely can freestyle. However, I'm more so, I like to save my words, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And definitely, if it's going to be something good that I'm putting together, I definitely want it to be fresh to someone's ears. But also, I don't want to use say if I come up with a really good punchline, I don't ever want to use it again. You know what I mean? I want to, create it and you know, leave it there.
Oh yeah, no, I respect that.
Not duplicated at all, at least, you know?
No, totally. And I think, you know, there's not a right or wrong way to do it. I think anybody with a pen can be just as strong as anybody who freestyles off the top. It's just different muscles. You know what I mean? Like I've seen some people put some nasty stuff on paper. So like there's no right or wrong way to do it for sure. But I appreciate you sharing that either way.
No, yeah, there's definitely some artists out there too, like, you know, like that, you know, they're better with either writing, or some people have that gift of, you know, straight off the top, you know?
Yeah, and I forget who it was that said it, but there's some people who are like, I can't write it down because then I try too hard to recreate.
They overdo it.
Yeah, then they're like forcing out the wrong part of it. So, you know, like I said, there's no wrong way to do it, but I'm kind of in the same boat. I always have to kind of put it on paper and like practice the cadence and like make sure that the first part of the flow is going to fit with the next part of the flow for sure.
For sure. No, once you get that hook down and then you get that first verse going, you know what I mean? The rest will lead its way.
Yep. Hell yeah. And then looking back, because I guess if you only started like taking it super seriously in 2022, then I imagine 2023 was probably a pretty transformative year. How did your process change in that time?
I started working a lot harder. You know, I came out with I was working on a really big project. It was my first project. It was my EP. It had 5 tracks on it. And believe it or not, those 5 tracks took me quite a while. But, you know, with good time comes good things. So, you know, I worked really hard. It took me quite a while, but I ended up finishing it and everything fell through.
Oh, yeah. And you're talking about Caution's Slippery When Wet, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they came out February of 22. It's a solid EP. I was listening through it earlier, and everything sounded tight. There was not a moment on it where I was like, ooh. Like, you know, sometimes like people push stuff out and like they're like 90% hit and there's that 10% moment of miss, but your EP doesn't have that at all. It's just everything felt really well put together. It felt really concise. I mean, like straight Left Coastin' was probably my favorite jam on there. That one just kind of connected right away. But I mean, and even you got a couple music videos that go along with it for No Cap and Switching Sides. Correct. And it's got a really put together feel for being like your current body of work on available.
Thank you.
Yeah. What was like your main inspiration for like putting it together? Like when you were writing it, were you trying to focus on a certain thing? Were you just doing what felt good?
Yeah, pretty much doing more so like what felt good, but at the same time, I love the West Coast. I'm from the West Coast.
Yeah, same. So like, shout out to the West Coast.
Yeah, shout out to my West Coast.
I got love for my East Side too. Right? Yeah, let's go.
But no, yeah, that plays a big part of me. So like, I tried to incorporate a lot of that into that project, and you know, it just kind of shows, you know, a little bit about myself and some of the things I went through, and you know, speaking for this side of things, you know. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. And what made you decide to want to do the 2 music videos? Was it just like to get more visibility out there, or were you like, these are the ones I want to do music videos for?
So those, the ones that I did music videos for, I felt like, you know, they're very strong songs, you know, and you know, it's kind of like, I'm a very, quite a few of them on there are kind of upbeat, you know? So like I was going from like more upbeat West Coast vibe, and those 2 particular songs that I did do the videos on, I felt like they were some of my most popular. I got the most plays on them, so I thought, why not, you know, give the visions to some of my people.
Oh yeah. And then I'm curious to know, how did you end up teaming up with AMG?
Wow. Yeah. So this is really cool. The way I came across them, I ended up doing a show out in Forest Grove, and they happened to be there, and I came across them, and I had my own set. But when I did go on, sure enough, there was SB and FH Ronan, and
shout out.
They were right there.
Boston and FH Ronan.
Yeah, shout out to my boys. Yeah, they were right there watching me, and then I could see them in the corner, like watching me and whatnot. And then after the show, we ended up touching base, and I actually worked with Spencer too as well for a short period of time. And,
oh hell yeah!
And little did I know would I ever be working with them like this close later on, you know?
Yeah.
And then they offered me a position on the team, and yeah, I took it. I was like one of the first artists to get signed.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a good fit. I mean, just by listening to your sound, I could tell that it would like mesh really well with what they would be looking for in sounds in general. So it was just a smart connection regardless.
Yeah.
But I am curious to know, I usually put this right after the song that I would pick off your EP, but what is your favorite song of yours to perform?
Ooh, that's a good one. It'd be between switching sides or straight left coasting, just because both of them speak volume on like what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to get at the end of the day. You know, switching sides is pretty much about, you know, I'm sure we all know somebody out there that's, you know, kind of switched sides on us, or, you know, left us hanging in a certain situation, you know, and then straight left coasting, it says it all, you know, it's all, you know, speaks highly of like, you know, what the West Coast is about and some of my experiences.
Oh yeah. And then let's step back a little bit. Let's look at kind of the music in general that you're working on and what's coming out. Like, so stuff that hasn't even come out yet, but stuff you're working on. What are some of the characteristics of your current sound that you enjoy? So like the descriptive words.
I like to think of it as like, you know, very motivating, get up and get it. You know, if you want something, at the end of the day, you're going to go get it.
Oh yeah.
You know, and sometimes, you know, you got to make sacrifices, but I definitely like to, you know, think of my stuff more. So it's like, you know, motivating, you know, like go out and get it, you know.
Hell yeah.
Even whether it be money or your passion or whatever you're chasing, you know, we all got a purpose in this life. So, you know, make it happen.
Oh yeah.
We only get one shot at this.
Yeah, your message definitely speaks volumes for sure. And then if we take one more step back, and this is a question I've been asking more recently, so I'm really excited to hear the answer on this. But looking at current music as a whole, what are some of the things you enjoy about new sounds that are coming out?
I would definitely say, you know, back then, you know, sampling was not necessarily a thing, and it's really came in quite a bit. I mean, a lot of people are doing different samples and stuff nowadays, but I think that's really, really cool, you know, taking something that, you know, what it used to, you know, obviously everybody's going to know what it used to be, and then taking a piece of that and making it into something, you know, a whole different vibe on it, you know, and a lot of different artists are starting to, you know, use samples and whatnot. So I think that's really cool. It definitely shows a different side. No,
totally. And I mean, I think even the tools to sample things have changed so much in the few years.
100%.
And like, this is kind of an obscure like mention, but there's an artist by the name of Pretty Lights. He's like an electronic artist. And at a certain point, he went and recorded a bunch of performances, like all like big, long one takes, pressed them to vinyl, and then sampled those performances. It was called A Color Map to the Sun, I believe. And it was a game changer, because here was this man creating his own things that he could use in his process, instead of being like, oh, I have access to $1 million studios. Oh, I have access to $1 million artists. Like
that's definitely unique.
Yeah, he went and made something that only he could sample, and then he put them out for everybody. So the stuff that he used to sample is accessible.
That's really dope.
So that's kind of just a cool thing that ties into what you were saying.
Yeah.
It's true. I think that, like, you know, some people frown on sampling because of like when you just take a song and you like slow it down 5 BPM and you claim it's your own bit. Like, that's not.
No.
When you see the dudes really like chop things up and like made
something out of it. Yeah.
Like that's a whole other world.
Yeah, I can see both sides, you know what I'm saying? So definitely, you know, if you were to do something like that, you better make it right.
Yeah, exactly.
Do something good with it, you know?
If people can't tell what you sampled it right.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yep. Or you get that one person's like, I know that, but nobody else knows it. You're like, we should be friends now.
So it just clicked. Bam.
Hell yeah. All right. But then getting back into this, I've got one more question in this middle portion, and this is probably the densest question in the interview.
Yeah.
But we've talked a lot about, you know, your experiences with music, the actions, the reactions, things like that. But when it's just you and music one-on-one, what does music give back to you?
It gives me peace of mind. It gives me confidence. It makes me feel good. It gets me through a lot of stuff, man. You know, I honestly don't know what I would do without it. But yeah, no, it's definitely an uplifter for me. 100%.
Hell yeah.
It keeps my drive going. And like I said, I don't know what I would do without it.
No, I feel that for sure. And I mean, music is such a big part of a lot of people's lives, but it's amazing after almost 200 interviews to still like to hear it. Everybody says it different, and like the passion that just kind of goes into creating and the outlet that it can create while still letting so much in.
Like therapy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's it's funny. Everybody's always like, "Oh, I it's going to sound like the same answer, but it is therapeutic." And I think it's like, I always refer to it as my sand garden,
Right?
something where I get to like create my own piece.
Yep, it's nice. Everybody's got their art of form.
Yep.
So it's definitely to be able to create that alone.
Yeah. Well, that, and I think it lets you show a side of you that maybe doesn't come out all the time.
Exactly. It shows a side that not everybody gets to see.
No, but
At least all the time.
Yeah, or like you may not even know how to show it. Like I always, I'm the worst with names, but somebody on a past episode was like, that was how I let people know that I was more than just like the shy person in the corner. Like that there was more to me inside. I just didn't know how to get it out.
Yeah, no, that's a great example.
Yeah.
I mean,
But all right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to some hypothetical questions. And for these, sky's the limits. They're all made up, so the answers are allowed to be as well. But this first one's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
If you could work with any one person, the only requirement is they have to be alive. Who would you want to work with, and how would you want to work with them?
that's a good one. I would definitely say G Perico. Just because I love what he pushes. I love what he stands on. He shows what coming from nothing and making something out of nothing.
Oh yeah.
He's independent, pushes all his own stuff. And I would definitely like to work with him just because he's got a dope style, and he resides on the West Coast, and I love his style, I love his drive, I love what he stands on, and that'd definitely be someone I would love to work with.
Damn, it's rare I hear a name that I don't recognize. So I'm definitely gonna have to check them out. Thank you for dropping his name here.
Of course, shout out G Perico.
Oh, yeah. And then subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of, but you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but you would like to?
That's a good one as well. I would have to say definitely Peso Live and Lavish.
Okay.
Yeah, Peso LL. I definitely, shout out to my raza. I would definitely like to work with him.
Hell yeah. Well, everybody, you know what to do. Make sure to add them in the comments. Let's make that happen. And then for this next one, like I said before, sky's the limits, and it's pretty literal in this sense. But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power. It was guaranteed the best lineup, guaranteed the best show. And it definitely doesn't have to be a venue. It could be anywhere. In this scenario, it all works. Where would you want to perform?
Ooh. Honestly, I definitely want to perform in the House of Blues once.
Okay.
A lot of greats have been through there.
Yeah.
A lot of my personal artists that I idolize.
Do you have one in particular? I think there's a few of them.
No, yeah. Nipsey's performed there.
It's probably the one down in like LA.
Yeah, that one. Or I would definitely do Rolling Loud if I could, just because the energy and the crowd and the audience. I mean, there's a lot of people, so it's like you're touching pretty big audience, and I would love that.
Hell yeah. This might be a weird take, but if I always like try to like pick spots that I would do interviews on. I would have loved to do one on the Travis Scott stage, like when he was doing his his tour. Like,
yeah,
I would have just loved to have done an interview on there beforehand, like that. Yeah. That feel. I know it's his thing. It's not really an event per se, but that one. That'd be stellar. That was such a wild experience from what everybody said.
No, for sure. Especially Travis, he's big, A lot of his shows are huge.
Oh, I don't even know if I would want to interview him. I would just want to do an interview in that whole colossal experience.
No, I get you.
I mean, Travis, if you ever want to do an interview, I won't stop you, but that would be wild.
No, for sure.
Hell yeah. And then to wrap up the hypothetical questions, if you could get one more album from anybody, they could be alive, they could be dead, they could have put out an album yesterday, they could have not put out an album in 100 years. Who would you want an album from?
Damn, I got two.
Go.
You know what I'm saying? Mac Dre.
Okay,
for sure.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Damn. That's a name I wish I heard more often.
No, for sure. Shout out Mac Dre. Rest in peace to my G. That would be, is in peace, you know what I'm saying? But it would be sick to, if we, of course he's, deceased, but if he was, if we got one last album out of him, that would have been dope. Or another one that I would say is, another West Coast legend, Tupac. You know what I mean? So
hell yeah.
I mean, he already had a lot of albums before he died. I believe he had quite a few, and he did a lot of work. I mean, he was in movies, did a lot of acting before he he died at 25.
Man, he was super young. I
Super young.
25 or 27, but
25.
Yeah,
Super
damn.
talented. And he already had a lot done before just imagine what he could have done if he was, still alive.
Every time somebody brings up that answer, I always have to comment, I wonder what it would have been like if him and Biggie had squashed their beef. You know what I mean? Like if they had done, if down the road they had done like a collaborative album.
That would have been sick. That would have been tough. Honestly,
that would have just changed things.
It would have changed the whole game. And I mean, shoot, man, it just shows you like what was going on in that time,
Yeah.
That was a tough era to be.
I mean, people really stood on their music. You know what I mean? Like
stood on business.
There was,
sure.
I mean, and don't get me wrong. There's some parts of that I think, I wish didn't exist because then both those artists would still be here with us.
No, 100%.
But like, there was just something about the representation of themselves and the things that they believed in their music at the time. And that, I mean, how many years later and we're still talking about them like they're still here. Like
they definitely left their mark,
Yeah.
Both two really dope artists,
Yeah.
It's just tragic that they both had to, go out the way they did. But yeah, that would have been definitely, if, it would have been awesome to see another, that would have been sick to see another album from Tupac.
Oh, yeah. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start wrapping this up. What can we look forward to between, let's say, now and September?
Yeah, no. So I got a track coming out here soon. I'm waiting to get the date set on it, but be on the lookout. It's going to be called I See You.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be my newest drop. I got a video coming right after it that's ready for it as well.
Nice.
Can't wait for everybody to see
yeah.
that. But yeah, it's definitely new music. Stay down just so you can see the come up. I'm telling you. After that, I got the album coming as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Definitely looking forward to that. Is there anything you can tell us about the album right now to get us excited? You got like a track count yet by chance?
So, yes, I do. For the track count, I got 6 tracks for it.
Okay.
And then I can I'll give you the title.
Okay. Is this the official announcement?
This is the official announcement.
Yo, let's go.
It's gonna be called "Leave Me Where You Found Me." Too Slicc.
Tough.
Sure. Yes,
Tough.
sir.
I dig that for sure. I'm sure you don't have a release date yet, but can you give us a rough idea? Like, will it be late summer? Will it be beginning of I guess spring's already happening.
No, yeah.
Like roughly when can we hope to see it?
We'll late summer.
Okay.
Late summer, if not shortly after that.
Okay, so late summer, early.
I definitely want to get it popping during the summer though.
Yeah, that way
you can. We got summer coming right around the corner.
You jam on it a few times. Yeah, hell yeah. Are you performing any of the songs off of it yet, or are you still getting ready for that?
I'm getting ready for that right now. I'm just I got these in the vault, and I'm just I'm getting ready to
hell yeah,
finalize all of them and make sure to execute everything.
Well, we'll definitely have to have you back after you drop it so we can talk about it. But for this next one, go ahead and look straight at the camera. Tell everybody how they can find you.
Yeah, you can go ahead and find me Two Slicc, TWO_SLICC. That's on all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, all of that. Yeah, check me out.
Hell yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Yeah. Shout out to my team. Shout out SB. Shout out FH. Shout out Tunes all the way from Vegas. Shout out Mo, my cameraman. You already know what it is. Big AMG.
Hell yeah. And now we've got one last question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second. As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. I guarantee you're going to like it. And with that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation. But what is an album you feel is more on the obscure side? So it's a deep cut. Not a lot of people would know it, but it's one you think everybody should know.
Hey, shout out to my West Coast, E40, my ghetto report card.
Hell yeah.
I know we can all relate to that one.
Hell yeah. Man, I was going to bring up E40 earlier just because that's like a sound I definitely grew up with. He had a double album. What was it? Was it Day Shift, Night Shift?
Yep, Day Shift, Night Shift.
Quality. Like everybody will go stand on and say Nelly's Sweat and Suit was the double album of that time. Day Shift, Night Shift. That was the one for sure.
No, for sure. He definitely had some bangers on there. Definitely had some bangers. Don't forget about the one where he came back too with Too Short a couple years ago. I think 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It was the the history.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Well, he just put out. He was just featured on a track that came out on like Friday. I can't remember the name of it at the moment,
I'm gonna
but
say he's definitely active and definitely staying consistent.
he
he's
never
made his mark.
stops. He never stops. His home
Exactly.
studio is immaculate.
Seriously.
Hell yeah.
And he's got freaking wine now. He's got, you know what I'm saying? He's got beer.
I mean, moving into the alcohol game, I think is what all the big people are doing because there's
yeah.
money in it.
I was gonna say,
there's
there's
money in it.
Another form of income too. You know what I mean? Shit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already, you know, well off, but why not?
Yeah.
You know?
No, I mean,
more.
like George Clooney, I think sold Casamigos for like $1 billion or something crazy.
Wow.
There's money in alcohol right now.
It's definitely there. It's definitely there.
Hell yeah. But no, that is a great rec. I definitely don't want to diminish your answer. That was a super solid recommendation. If anybody hasn't heard that album, you definitely need to go listen to it. It's phenomenal.
Go check it out if you haven't heard it. You know what I'm saying? Nothing but bangers.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to my dog.
Hell yeah.
Odie Water.
Hell yeah. All right, but we're going to go ahead and get up on out of here. Thank you so much for joining us.
It was a pleasure. I appreciate your time.
Hell yeah. And this has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's JamBox. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Two Slicc.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Keep jamming.